Hi and welcome. This is Linda. I'm so glad you're going to join me for this lighthearted journey from total confusion to slow stitching mastery. In this video, I'm going to endeavor to cover 10 funny and easy steps to help beginners dive into the world of slow stitching. Whether you're layering fabrics or experimenting with stitches or just trying not to stick your finger, this guide is perfect for anyone looking to embrace their creativity and maybe their inner goofball as well. So grab your fabrics and grab your scraps and grab your thread and your needle and let's get to stitching. What I'm going to be working on while we're talking about these 10 steps that I've got lined out here is I'm going to be taking this simple little slow stitch piece, little fabric collage, which is what most every beginner starts with, and which also a lot of fiber art starts with, just the basic collage, okay? So we're going to start with this, and then I have some elements laid out here, and I'll show you how I'm going to incorporate them. First of all, I've got to finish a couple little strips here of just getting the stitching down on them. So while we're doing that, let's look at some of these points. How do you get from being clueless to mastering this art of slow stitching? Well, I don't know if we ever master any art. I'm kind of doubtful of that, but we are all in the process, so we're works in process. But the very first step is to accept the fact that you're clueless. In fact, embrace that fact that you're about as familiar with slow stitching as maybe a goldfish is with quantum physics, or me for that matter. This is, though, actually the first step to becoming proficient at slow stitching. Acknowledging that we might not know what we're doing, and that's perfectly fine, because that's a perfect place to start. The next thing that we might want to think about is to start gathering our supplies. Now, as a fiber artist myself and a slow stitcher and designer, I want to have lots and lots and lots of little bitty pieces. I don't want a whole lot of any one thing. I just want lots of all kinds of things to work with. And that makes slow stitching fun. So, you know, before you go to the craft store, before you spend a dime, ask around with your crafty friends. What kind of fabric scraps do they have? Do you have anybody who quilts in your family? Do they have leftover batting or small offcuts of fabric and batting? How about people who crochet or knit? They always have end pieces of yarns that usually they do nothing with. Start gathering up all the bits and pieces you can find. Then you might try your garage sales, your estate sales, your thrift stores, your Goodwill stores, things like that before you go to a craft store. I very seldom go to a craft store. Most of mine comes from thrift stores, and the local Goodwill and garage sales. And and estate sales. Those are wonderful places. You get wonderful buys. And be very picky even when you're doing that. Don't pay the first price that's on it. Dicker a little bit. Okay, let's look at this piece now. I've got that much done. And so I had an idea that maybe we could create, I had this motif that was a starting of a flower design, and I thought, well, that's pretty in itself. Maybe I can just use that on this busy background And I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. So let me get it down a little bit. For now, we'll just go down the center and get it attached. Okay, the third point for going from a clueless newbie to a stitching artist is to watch tutorials. There are so many wonderful artisans here on YouTube. There are all kinds of artisans that are hand sewers, embroidery artists, fiber artists, slow stitching artists. There's just a ton of them. And so find some that you really like their style, you like how they demonstrate, teach, you just like watching them. You not only find it instructive, you find it entertaining, and that will keep you going back. And well, I just pulled my thread out of my needle again. Okay, let me get this back. Okay, let's see if I can hit the hole here. I did, first time. All right. You might look for videos. You might type in the search videos for slow stitch beginners, videos for fiber art beginners, and see if there are some that specifically, and I know there are tons of them, address their videos toward beginners, just like this one is. And so start watching these tutorials. Start learning from these artists, okay? That's what they're on YouTube for. They want to teach, they want to share, they want to expand on what they know and show you what they know. So watch them. The next thing is you want to, well, before we get with that, let's see where I'm going here next. Where am I going here next? Okay. I have these little pieces I thought I could use for grass and, or, you know, greenery. And I thought I would work it along this thing here. Good little let's see. This one's going to be a bit longer. You know what? I really like that. Let me just pin this a little bit. Encourage it to stay where it's at while I'm working on it. Okay, let me get that done. As you can see, I can't talk and work too, so I have to take a break in my little conversation here. Okay, how do I want to do this? I have a sharp pen. All right, let's see if we can get a little bit of that down so I can work with it. Where's my thread? Is at the bottom. Good. Let's just tack this one around. We're just going to tack enough to keep it down, and then I can come back and secure it better. Okay, the next point, I think number 4, is to start small. Begin with small projects, like a fabric collage, like this was, made out of scraps in the background. Like this one right, let's see. No, I don't have another one handy, but just collage some fabric scraps together in whatever way you want. It doesn't matter. That's going to be your first practice. Start collaging and learn how you like, whether you like bigger pieces, littler pieces, color combinations, just different things like that. And just have some fun with that. Try some different stitches, some straight stitches, some chain stitching, some blanket stitches, very basic stitches that you can learn here on YouTube. There are different embroidery artists that show those very well, okay? And so just use that. I use primarily just straight sewing stitches. Occasionally I throw in a decorative embroidery stitch, but I am more about the fiber and the fabric than the stitching, so I'm by no means an embroidery artist. And but if you like that, then definitely learn a few stitches. Try to learn maybe 1 or 2 stitches a week. And so when you get about 10 and under your belt, well, make a few projects using those stitches and some collaging, and get your feet wet doing that. So it's starting very small. Work on a 4x4 size or a 5x7 size, nothing bigger for a while. You know, if your first attempts at collaging look like a patchwork of confusion, just tell everybody it's modern art. You know, they won't know the difference. You know, just art. Tell them that's part of the design. That's what I tell people a lot, because it exactly is true when I am designing and things just happen. It is part of the design, because I love that intuitiveness. I love that the way things happen on their own. Okay, I got that secured well enough, I believe. Okay. Now remember, what we're trying to do here is take a simple slow stitch collage, just the basic thing, and upgrade it to a little piece of slow stitch art or fiber art. Pretty much they're synonymous. Okay, let's take the pins out. Okay, that little motif is working really well under there. I like that. Now these little grassy things, I thought I had 3 of these little things, and I thought I can make flowers out of those and put those on the basic ends of those. Isn't that cute already? I think so. Let's fasten that. Just keep it in place long enough for me to sew it down. I love those. Those were cut off some time back. I remember I cut that off of a blouse that had a big lacy part on it, crocheted lacy inset, and it had different elements, and I've used a lot of the other elements, but I had these little circles, and I found them in a drawer, and I thought, oh, that's just perfect, perfect, perfect. I love that. Okay, I think I have some more of this thread. Same thread on a different needle here. Let's go ahead and use that. It's kind of a tan color, but it blends good with the all this color going on in the background. Don't sweat too much all those kind of details. Just when you're first starting out, just have fun. So like I said, you want to start playing with some different stitches, not too many, just a few. And then you want to start playing also with collaging. small pieces. This is like a 3x4. Very small, very easy to handle. Doesn't take 6 weeks to get it done. You can play with lots of different fabrics and lots of different stitches, okay? So, let's go from the inside out here. Now, another thing that you might want to do is you might want to find some communities like on Facebook. There are some wonderful slow stitch communities. My group is called Slow Stitching on the Balcony. There's a big group called Slow Stitch. There's Dottie Bees. I can't remember the name of hers, but very nice community. There's just tons of them. And just put in search in your YouTube page, Slow Stitch groups, and several will come up for you. And join some of those and just observe and learn, because there are people on there that you'll never see on YouTube or any place else. Also, Instagram has wonderful communities and artists. There is no end to inspiration and people you can learn from. One thing about that is that you learn from everybody, and then you find out that all those people that you admire their work so much, they started where you are now. They started as clueless newbies, not knowing one end of their needle from the other. And so they've accidentally, sewed their fingers at times, just like you're going to do, and made all kinds of goofy mistakes. I'll tell you one I made yesterday. I was working along, and my thread kept getting really short. And I thought, I haven't stitched that much. It shouldn't be that short. And when I flipped it over, there were 3 big loops on the back that I had already sewn, so they were kind of like permanent. And thought, how did I do that? I've never done that one before, especially 3. And so half my thread was gone before I'd stitched hardly anything. So no matter how experienced you are, you still make mistakes and stupid stuff, and funny things happen while you're working. So don't think that just because you're new at it and you make some of these crazy mistakes that you're alone, because you're not. You're in good company. Once you've practiced a little, got a little project or 2 done, and you've joined a community and you've watched some YouTube videos, and then it's time to start adding personal touches to your pieces. Instead of just leaving it a plain collaged background, start adding things just like I'm doing now. Okay, you can just start with simple things like buttons, an old piece of jewelry. Just start adding things, beads, bows, yarns, threads, just charms, things you cut off other clothes and things, just anything you want to. Pretty soon it'll start looking like a craft supply explosion on top of your work. But that's okay, because you're creating and you're getting a feel for what you like and what you don't like. Isn't that adorable already? I just love it. It's looking great. All right, let's get this last one on here. Okay, whoops. Remember, this is not microbiology, rocket science, extraterrestrial searching. This is just slow stitch. Mistakes are not mistakes, in the sense that when you're creating, everything is creative. What you might call your mistakes may turn out to be some of your best design elements. So don't be afraid to experiment, to strike out, to do whatever you feel like doing at the time. Try it. You might love it. If you hate it, just don't do it again. That's all I can say. That's how I learn. I am definitely self-taught. I have, over the years, watched many artists here on YouTube, and I have learned a lot from them. And I've always studied things when I'm at craft stores or craft shows or quilt shows or anything. I study those pieces. I look at them. I try to figure out what that artist was thinking when they made that decision. And you would believe how that helps you to understand the pieces, and you can apply that when you're ready to put it to work. Okay, let me tie this little piece off here. Get me a longer piece. This is going to make probably a cute little front to a needle case. I think it's so cute already. Now what we're going to do with these are these little pieces of thread that have been wound up. And I'm going to add them to the center of these circles to complete a flower look. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm going to get a piece of thread that's in the same color. And I think I'll work with two threads. I like to work with 2 threads most of the time. It glides through the fabric really well. It's not too bulky, and it's not too pronounced with the stitching. Okay, let's get it on the needle. Okay, took me 3 tries, but I got it. I'm going to basically get this tacked down, and then just so that I can come back and work on it a little bit more. Get it where it won't be moving around and losing its shape. Okay. Now, for instance, it wasn't my intention for this outer thread to come out of the tighter coil, but it did. So is that a mistake? No, it's an opportunity for a design change. Don't you like my positivity? Design changes are wonderful, and you'll learn to make them all the time, sometimes because you want to, sometimes because you have to. And so look at it that way, and that also teaches you, because you learn to design in the moment and work with what you've got. And that is also elevating up your art. Don't know what I'm going to do with these yet. Okay, so we're going to not sweat that too much. Now this one has come apart too, but I don't want him that long, so I'm going to snip him, and then I'm going to spread him out just a little bit and let him find a home right there. Right there, right there. Okay. Okay, this time we have an end sticking out, which I don't want. So I'm going to stick him in and try to hide him right off the bat. See if I can get him worked back in and under. Okay, that did good. We have another little wild strand out here. We're going to let him do his own thing. And we'll come in here and catch these loops. Now probably what I will do is I think I will come back and add maybe a bead to the end of each one of these threads that are hanging down. I'll tack it and then add a bead at the end. And that way it will be like it has, it's either that or we'll make some, tack it down and make some lazy daisy stitch, not lazy daisy, French knots around it. And that would be cute too. Okay. All right. Let's see where this one wants to go. Okay. Let's turn him this way. Okay. Isn't that adorable? And doesn't that look so cute? I'm loving this one. And you will too. You'll love your work. Just be creative. Have fun with it. The next thing I want to be sure to encourage you to do as beginners is to show your work. Put it on those Facebook groups. Get some encouragement, some feedback. Don't be embarrassed. Everybody starts at the beginning. Everybody starts at the beginning. Nobody is born a slow stitch artist. Okay? So show your work out there. Post pictures of it. And if people ask what it is, don't be embarrassed. I've had that happen to me a lot of time. Just say very profoundly, you know, it's a deeply personal exploration of fabric and thread. Do you know, I've never gotten anybody to reply to that. What are they going to say, you know? And, but just because people say, well, what is something? So there are people who can look at this and they won't see flowers, you know, even though that's what I see. They won't see flowers. So they'll ask me, well, what is it? And that's when you want to just be a little creative, you know, with your answers. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to end this video here and with one last thought, and that's to keep practicing and keep laughing. Continue to explore and create. And remember, the goal of slow stitching is to enjoy the process, enjoy the destination. If you make a mistake, just laugh at it and call it a happy accident or a design element, however you decide to work with it. And make some beautiful little pieces. Pretty soon, all your slow stitching will fall into the category of slow stitch art because you will have created from your heart beautiful pieces. And only you can do that. Remember, only you can make what you make. Until next time, stay scrap happy.